Sometimes I think I was born at just the right time for video games, right smack dab in the middle of the SNES release and the N64 release. Naturally, when I was old enough to not just play a video game, but to understand one too. How it looks, how your character reacts to your inputs, how the colors and the bits come together to create a visual sunrise on your CRT television. A story unfolds before your very eyes, and as a child you're left to interpret it any way you want to. It was truly a beautiful time that I look back on fondly. But today I would like to talk about a video game that helped shape the man I am today. And I'm not just saying that as a general blanket term, because well, this video game is very special to me because it's actually the first video game I've ever played. That's right, my first experience in the then new form of consumable media that would inevitably take over my life. The first time I ever picked up a piece of cheap plastic and filled the shoes of somebody who wasn't myself. In that moment, ladies and gentlemen, was shared with none other than Super Mario World on the SNES, the Super Nintendo Entertainment System for the layman. So come now, children, let us sing the praises of a video game from another era. The 1990s, the era of two things, purple ketchup and side-scrollers. That's it, that's all there was in the 90s, and NSYNC, of course. You had such masterpieces as Donkey Kong Country, Mega Man X, Sonic the Hedgehog, oh my god. Oh, never mind, they fixed him. Sonic the Hedgehog, Chuck Rock, shut up, I enjoyed it. And of course, the man himself. Last name Mario, first name Greatest. No, his first name is Mario, as is his last name, Mario. No, really, that's canon.
Name? Mario. Last name? Mario. Okay, what's your name? Luigi. Luigi? No, Luigi Mario.
I hate it. Mario, of course, is a man who needs no introduction. You look at him and you say, yeah, I know that guy, but sir, this is a Dairy Queen. My man has been dropping bangers since the 80s, and nobody even bothers to try to take his place anymore. Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 respectively, Super Mario Odyssey, Super Mario Battlestar Galactica. But I think it's important to take a look back on the pieces that came together to create his legacy, and by pieces, I mean this fucker. Yoshi. Many people look at Super Mario Bros. On the NES fondly, but I didn't grow up with it, so I don't really have anything to say about it. I'm not saying it's not a marvel in its time, and I do respect it for what it is, and quite possibly it's responsible for all the games we know and love today. But the flagship title for me has been and will always be Super Mario World. It might be nostalgia talking, but let me tell you, this was an experience. Everything that came after that was just furthering along what was set in stone by that game. Mario was no longer a drab, colorless, cold-hearted killer, but a friendly, colorful face that we all know and love and welcome into our homes and our lives. I would let Mario my Now I'll make this quick. I know you got places to be, people to do, but just sit tight and let's spit some history in your direction. The year was 1988. Hot off the release of Super Mario Bros. 3, Takashi Tezuka and Shigeru Miyamoto wanted to create a game that was different than the previous entries. It took 3 long years to put together a banger, with the legend Koji Kondo producing music for the game, but we'll get to that later. They were working tirelessly to put together a game for the new console coming out, the SNES. Yeah, you know the console that turns yellow if you look at it wrong? Like as if your eyeballs smoked a cigarette in its direction? Yeah, that one. They created a carbon copy of Super Mario Bros. 3, but decided that it was too similar to their last game. Miyamoto wanted to innovate and make some new shit since they no longer had the hardware limitations of the NES. So he slapped a dinosaur under Mario's balls and turned the drab, colorless world of Super Mario into a 16-bit acid trip. I mean, the color of the worlds are richer than Bezos. It's truly gorgeous to look at. Back to the dinosaur, I should probably mention that Yoshi was actually based off Miyamoto's sketches from previous titles, and he wanted to give Mario a companion since the first game, but due to limitations, Yoshi was cut. I'd say pulling the trigger on introducing him in Super Mario World was a great choice, because now he can drive a car. As far as gameplay goes, Super Mario World did things a tad bit differently. You still had the running sideways. I mean, it's an integral part to side-scrollers. You take that away, the whole system just falls apart. Everything is there's no order, there is no structure. What, you expect Mario to just flail around aimlessly and hope for the best? It doesn't work that way. Sorry. With the introduction of some new power-ups, one of them being a cape feather, and no, it's not a reskinned Tanuki, you now have the ability to fly over the entire goddamn level. Of course, only scrubs did this, and speedrunners, I guess. It always felt like cheating because you didn't get to experience everything that the world had to offer, like secret pipes, secret exits, secret sauce. Aside from the added power-ups, changing up how the levels are traversed at times, all the classic Super Mario tropes are present. Your main objective is to get to the end goal or find secret exits along the way that will unlock something really cool. This is obviously done by breaking blocks to reveal the aforementioned power-ups and curb stomping any enemy that got in your way. Speaking of enemies, you got, oh god, here we go. Amazing Flying Hammer Brother, Balls and Chain, Bonsai Bill, Bullet Bill, Big Steely, Blarg, Blurp, Babomb, Bony Beetle, Buzzy Beetle, Boo Buddies, Bowser Statue, Chainsaw, Chargin' Chuck, Cheep Cheep, Dino Rhino, Dino Torch, Dry Bones, Eries, Fishbone, Fishin' Boo, Fishin' Lakitu, Fishin' Chim, Floatin' Mine, Galoomba, Flying Galoomba, Fuzzy, Grinder, Hothead, Jumping Piranha Plant, Koopa Troopa, Lava Bubble, Lil Sparky, Magic Koopa, Mecha Koopa, Mega Mole, Monty Mole, Muncher, Ninja, Parabomb, Paragaloomba, Paratroopas, Piranha Plant, Pokey, Porcupuffer, Rex, Resner, Rip Van Fish, Spike Top, Spiny, Sumo Brother, Super Koopa, Swooper, the Big Boo, Thwimp, Thwomp, Torpedo Ted, Urchin, Volcano Lotus, and Wiggler. Not including the castle bosses, or Bowser, or the masked Koopas and Paratroopas. There was a lot to see and do in this game, and as a child, it kind of helped, let your imagination run wild. All of the contemporary video game boundaries have been lifted, and I was free to do whatever I want, armed with nothing but a flower and a dinosaur smacked underneath my ball sack. When it comes to stories in Mario games, they're usually pretty cut and dry. Princess gets stolen, Mario goes and saves the princess by defeating Bowser, everyone's happy, the end. The plot to Super Mario World, though, is really only slightly different. Mario and Luigi go on vacation to a place called Dinosaur Land. Princess Toadstool gets kidnapped by Bowser, and Mario is off to save her. Along the way, they meet a young dinosaur named Yoshi, who asks them to save his dinosaur friends. That becomes the main goal in the storyline, so you set off to save all of Yoshi's homies and defeat Bowser to save the princess. Also, Mario blows up every goddamn castle to really send a message. Koji Kondo is kind of a household name at this point. I mean, if you've ever played a classic Nintendo game, then you're familiar with his work. But my buddy Super Spin Move can kind of give you the story a lot better than I can, so I'll go ahead and pass it off to him.
Super Mario World, easily one of the most iconic soundtracks in all of video games. I mean, just look at this Metacritic page that I photoshopped. Pretty insane when you think about it, really. Every area of the game sounds exactly like what you would imagine it should sound like, with just as much joy and jubilation and happy, colorful glee as really any one normal person could probably handle, if I'm being completely honest. Koji Kondo pushed the absolute limits on this one. He wrote it right up to the breaking point, where it's not tipping over into too much, but it's just right on that line of perfect. And it's even crazier knowing the tools that they had to work with at the time. You know, the limitations of that era. It's groundbreaking stuff. Actually, it paved the way for a whole swath of video game soundtracks to come. I mean, I don't know if you know a whole lot of composers that can pull that kind of versatility and emotion out of a 16-bit synthesizer and a receding hairline, but goddamn, dude, it's like pure genius, pretty much. However, I digress. This is not my video, but thanks to Doplex, I just wanted to jump on here for a quick second and talk about something that's fantastic and that I love a whole lot. But I think the truest test of genius is to let the work speak for itself. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the Super Mario World soundtrack, a small sampling. Please enjoy.
To play. Hello, it's me, Mario.
Make a splash like my name's R. Kelly. Less piss, but a lot more belly. Eating shrooms like a motherfucking addict. Constant struggle with internal conflicts. Come to terms with being alone. Tried to save you, but you weren't home. I can always resort to violence. Curb stomp turtles to combat the silence. It's a me, bitch, it's a me. Throwing vowels where they shouldn't be. Sitting on bands, got no degree. Life's so glam, but this dick is free. It's a me, cunt, it's a me. Got more titles than a b-ball team. Still depressed while living the dream. So long, Gabe Bowser, put an end to your schemes. Overalls soaked in piss. Alcoholism's a hit or miss. We all have our vices, but mine is this. Can't forget about the murder, that's kind of my shit. I can't say I'm family friendly, but I'll still be at your school assembly, saying all the words programmed intently. What I mean to say is fuck you immensely. Just kidding, that's against my contract. Keep up appearances, I need to hold back all the things I've been holding inside. Lost count of how many times I have died, but not once did I feel the closure. Insanity dressed as composure. I can't even have a simple discourse, cause all the words I know are based off resource. Shut up, bitch, I'm not coming this time. You're constantly calling like a damn hotline. I'm done jumping hurdles for a bitch in pink. Gonna let King Koopa put a pipe in your stink. Won't bother saying let's go, cause this time I ain't leaving home. Beat my salami to Daisy Triple X, cause I'm well aware you ain't offering sex. It's a me, hoes mad. It's a me, hoes mad. It's a me, hoes mad. Hoes mad, hoes mad. It's a me, hoes mad. It's a me, hoes mad. It's a me, hoes mad. Hoes mad, 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 hoes mad. Let's go, Mamma Mia. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Spaghetti, 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 spaghetti. Mamma Mia, mom spaghetti. Mamma Mia, mom spaghetti. The franchise as a whole has come a long way. The Super Mario games have been some of my favorites in video game history. I know Mario is kind of a household name at this point, and for good reason. Usually when means of entertainment stretch out for as long as this series has, it becomes stale. Nintendo has been able to continuously reimagine and reintroduce this series, all while staying true to its roots and never straying far off what has worked for them for years. Super Mario Maker is a great way to get new players into one of the greatest stylistic choices Nintendo has ever made, and it's nice being able to revisit the adorable sprites from my childhood in a new way. So that's it. That's the video. Big stinky thank you to my patrons this month. Frostrive, like Nancy with a J, that one. Digital Dice Hater, Trivia Chick, Zachary Pouillet, Boblax, Internet Unwind, Satan, Mr. Caleb G98, Super Cyanide, Rebecca Anderson, Tony Bryant, Dojangles, Bixler, Looney Mania 123, Burger Krieg, Polite, Alpha RW, Pantsless Gamer, The Rhino, Super Swim Team 7, Tabor TCU, Chris Has Fun, Matthias Cronston Nygren. Everybody in the chat, please give a warm welcome to Swaginus Maximus. Oh, and Jeffrey Epstein.